Hello, I am Phil. I'm from the Clinton Macomb Public Library North Branch, and today I'm going to talk to you about Morningstar. Morningstar is an electronic resource available through our website where you can research stocks, mutual funds, and other investments. If you're anything like me, you might know just enough to be dangerous, so Morningstar is a great tool for learning more about investments and diversification and all kinds of things like that. I'm going to show you how to access that and how to use it. So as with all of our electronic resources, you go to our website, cmpl.org, and you'll find under the research button here a drop-down list of databases, and that's where you'll find it. When you select Morningstar, you'll be prompted to authenticate with your library barcode number and your PIN number, which is typically the last 4 digits of your phone number. When you get into Morningstar, it's going to look like this. You can see that you can research individual company stocks, funds, ETFs, which are electronically traded funds. You can research markets in general, and you can do research on your own individual portfolio. So I'm going to select funds for mutual funds, and you can see that there's a screener tool. So if you want to look into mutual funds that you might potentially want to invest in, you can select all kinds of different parameters where it'll filter out or it'll winnow down to exactly what you want. So if you want only 5-star rated funds, you can search for funds that way. If you have a particular investment strategy that you want, you can select that. So that's just one of the many tools that they give you to research a fund. But I'm going to go straight to a mutual fund just so I can show you the kind of information that you can find. So if you know the ticker symbol or the name of the mutual fund, you can enter it in up there, and it works the same way with stocks. So right now it is searching for the Vanguard Large Cap Index Fund. I'm going to use that as my example, and I'll show you the kind of information you can get from Morningstar. So the first thing I look at when I'm researching investments is the Morningstar star rating. 5 is the highest, so we can see that this one is highly regarded by Morningstar. Note that I'm not endorsing any particular investments. I'm just reading their review on the fund. You can see the net asset value, the expense ratio, the fee levels. You can kind of see if it's an expensive fund or if it has expensive maintenance fees or not. And then the Morningstar analysis. And this is a very detailed analysis about a mutual fund. It may be more information than you need, but it'll tell you about the investment philosophy of the fund, the people behind it. Probably more useful is the past performance. How has it done in the past? Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean how well it's going to do in the future, but it's still useful. And then you can see trailing returns is how it compares to other funds in the same group. So if you see your fund dip, as all funds have been doing lately, it seems like that may be less meaningful than how this fund has performed against others of a similar type, because it may be very well there was an event, say COVID-19, that caused all mutual funds in the same category to dip. And that's where looking at the trailing returns is helpful. You can see how it does against its peers, basically. You can see how the risk ratio, people have different tolerances for risk. Sometimes the higher the risk, the higher the return, that kind of thing. It'll tell you the asset allocation, if it's primarily US stocks, non-US stocks, and other types of assets. It'll tell you other things like what sectors are included in your investment in this particular mutual fund. So that'll kind of tell you how diversified the mutual fund is in and of itself, and other things like that. This part I kind of like. This tells you the top 10 holdings of your mutual fund. So sometimes it's informative or just fun to see what stocks are contained within your particular mutual fund. So in this case, This mutual fund has stocks for Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Berkshire Hathaway. So you can kind of see very major large cap stocks are included in this. So all kinds of great information. The other thing I want to show you in this video is the portfolio feature, and this is very cool. So my wife and I every so often will take a look at the mutual funds contained within our 401k and see how we're doing and whether or not it's diversified enough and things like that. So I'm going to take 5 mutual funds and enter them in here. So this is a hypothetical portfolio. It's not actually my investments. So I'm going to enter in 5 different mutual funds here. And I apologize for the delay as I do this, but it's important to show you how it works, and this is the only way to do it. Almost there. As I start typing, it'll prompt me to select their recommendation, and that you definitely do want to do. And then it's going to ask you the holding value. So I have 5 stocks. In this hypothetical portfolio, we're going to assume I have 20% invested in each mutual fund. You can probably hear my dogs barking as I do this. There's just no stopping that. All right, so I've got 5 mutual funds in my portfolio, 20% in each. And I'm going to show what they call an instant X-ray. So here it is. It shows you how diverse your portfolio is, what percentage is in cash, what percentage is in US stocks, foreign stocks, bonds, things like that. It'll tell you the diversification style that you've got going on, what sectors you're invested in, what countries you're invested in. So that kind of gives you a snapshot right there of how diversified or not your portfolio is. And different people will have different strategies, especially as far as how risky or how conservative you are. Then I like to hit the interpreter button here. And this is great. This kind of just tells you what Morningstar thinks of your portfolio and how diverse it is. It's up to you how much weight you want to give this. Obviously, it's not an actual person, not a face-to-face conversation, but here goes. It says your portfolio is aggressive. An asset mix such as yours normally generates high long-term returns, but can be very volatile. Financial planners typically recommend these types of mixes for investors who have investment horizons longer than 10 years, need high returns, and are comfortable with a high level of risk. Your portfolio doesn't have a clearly discernible style and isn't well diversified among the main areas of the style box. Depending on your investment goals, you may want to further diversify your portfolio by increasing your exposure to large cap value stocks. So that's great. It tells you that it's a risky portfolio, a higher risk portfolio. I shouldn't say risky, but a higher risk, which is often common for people who still have maybe 20, 30 more years to invest. There's more time for it to recover from a dip. And it's also telling us that maybe we're a little light in certain areas. Like in this case, high cap stocks are a little light in this portfolio. Now, again, you don't want to put your entire faith into something like this, but it's just a tool to kind of give you a starting point. So there's all kinds of tools like that. I'm not going to go through everything, but it's really a great tool. Morningstar is a trusted brand. It's been around for a very long time, and it's very popular with our patrons. So definitely check out Morningstar when you have a chance. I think you'll really like it.